An expression today that I'm going to explain. The first one, let's start with whale. So for example, you know what a whale is. I'm going to draw a whale. Whoa. Wow. That's a whale. Whales are mammals. Of course they're mammals. Some little bubbles so he can breathe. Well, not so he can breathe out. Of course he has to come to the surface to breathe. Anyway, so that's a whale. Now what if you say, oh my god, that sounded terrible. Okay. I had a whale of a time. What's a whale of a time? This means fun. I had fun. So for example, let's say you went to a baseball game. And you thought the baseball game was excellent. So you said, you know what? I had a whale of a time at the baseball game. That's awesome. Similarly, if you hit the ball very hard, bam! That means you whale the ball. So, I had a whale of a time, and you can say the batter. This is the batter. And the guy throwing the ball, of course, is the pitcher. So the pitcher throws the ball to the batter, and the batter then whales the ball. The batter whales the ball. You can say, I really whaled the ball into the stands, for example. Similarly, you can say, okay, let's say you hit something really hard. You can say, I whaled it. I whaled it, or I whaled on it. So, for example, let's say I'm trying to fix. I shouldn't put my thing there. I should put it here. Let's say I'm trying to fix my bicycle, and let's say I can't get the handlebar off. So I take something to hit it, like a wrench. Say I take my wrench and I really wail on it. I just start wailing on the thing. Just start wailing on it. Then I can say, I wailed on it. I wailed on my bike. Oh my god, on my bike? Let me take a quick spelling break here. On my bike. To fix it. Awesome. A combatant. Combatant is a person who gets involved in armed conflict. Person who is involved with armed conflict. Bam. So, for example, you can have these guys. There's his little war helmet. And he is crouching on this little thing here. He's got his gun. Shooting. He's a combatant. And let's say you're here. And you're standing right in the line of fire with a gun also, blasting the crap out of him. So, you can say that we are combatants. We are combatants. Do you like the way I write? It's truly messy, but it's all about the idea, not the quality of the writing, don't you think? Okay, so we are combatants. Similarly, let's do... Who's this? This is me. This is the enemy. right? He's the enemy. We are fighting, he is the enemy. Similarly, you can call him the enemy combatant. He is the enemy combatant. I'm fighting. I'm fighting the enemy combatant. I'm fighting the enemy combatant in his territory. If this is his home, like let's say I crossed over into his country. So if I go to his country, I am fighting the enemy combatant in his territory. In his territory. And if he comes over to my country, he is fighting me in my territory. Similarly, combat doesn't have to be with war. It can be with anything. So for example, let's say the government wants to combat unemployment. Unemployment is people do not have a job, they have no work, so the government wants to combat unemployment by basically spending money. So the government is going to print a bunch of money so that people will have useless jobs digging ditches in the ground. And that is how the government wants to combat unemployment. Hello everyone, let's talk about the word transfer. Transfer means to move something. To move somewhere else. So this can be something small, like I transferred my bicycle to my mom's house.
I transferred my bicycle to my mom's house for convenience. So it's maybe easier for me to get my bicycle. Let me erase this here quickly, and we will go to the next example. Now, we transferred 1,000 workers. Now this is talking about a company, so we transferred 1,000 workers to the New York office. This happens a lot when companies are having problems or growing or changing their office. So for example, I got transferred to the sales department. Now this could be if I was working in the manufacturing part or the maintenance. I got transferred to the sales department. Let me erase this here. I got transferred from the factory to the sales department. We transferred 1,000 workers to the New York office. I got transferred from the factory to the sales department.
Hey everybody, I thought we'd do some quick science for a second. We have high tide and low tide. The tide is the height of the water. The height of the water in the ocean depending on the moon and the sun. So you have the pull of the moon and the sun, which causes the ocean to rise and fall, and as well as the Earth rotation. Oh my heavens. So let's draw some pictures for fun. So we got, we'll do high tide. I'll do the same area here. Here's high tide. Got a boat. There's our boat. That's high tide. Well, low tide. Uh-oh. So you can see here the difference is that the water drops. This could be 8 feet, I don't know. So that's the difference between high tide and low tide. Now how long does this take? Apparently it takes about 1 day. Apparently. When I was living on the ocean, yeah, it would take maybe 1 to 2 days, I remember. You'd have a high tide where the waves would come in. Basically, I remember it was 1 or 2 days later the waves would go out. Go from this to this in like maybe 1 or 2 days, right? 1 or 2 days. And there's an expression, a low, no, it's not low, a rising tide. A rising tide lifts all boats. So rising means going up. The tide is the water. Lifts means go up. So a rising tide lifts all boats. So for example, let's say your boat is here. And here's another boat here. Well, if the water goes up, every boat rises. Every boat goes up. Now what does this mean? This has nothing to do with boats, actually. What it means is that when the economy, the money, is going up, everything goes up. So stocks, bonds, metals, oil, food, all prices go up when the economy is going up. That's really what it means. That's how it goes. That's how it is. 2 expressions today. Let's take a look at the board. That's how it goes, and that's how it is. These 2 expressions are the same thing. They just mean, it's not my fault, it's not your fault, it's just how it is. So it's almost like randomness. Randomness. It's for example, let's say your friend John, draw that a little better. John parks his car right here. He locks his car. He parks near a light. He parks in a good area. So he locks it, parks near a light, parks in a good area. But guess what? It gets stolen. His car gets stolen. Well, he says, hey man, my car got stolen. And you say to him, well, that's how it goes, man. That's how it is. That's just how it is, People are stealing cars. It's not like you did something bad. It's just that your car got stolen because somebody, it's their job, an illegal job, they're criminals, to steal cars and sell the parts. So, that's how it goes. They picked your car. In fact, my car, well, it was my truck, got stolen in 2005. And that's just how it goes. I was going to sell it anyway, but, it got stolen. So that's just how it goes. A similar expression. This is actually a legal term, but it's a similar expression. You'll hear this in the news. Force force majeure, which means, or force majeure if you're pronouncing it more Englishy. Superior force in French. Superior force is what it means translated directly, which is basically like, let's say we have a boat and we're shipping containers. We have a big ship and we're shipping containers. Cargo ship or a container ship. And let's say there is a big storm and our boat sinks. Well, if we declare force majeure, it means, hey, it's how it goes. It's not our fault. If you declare that, they're basically what they're saying is that all this merchandise, all this stuff sunk to the bottom. And they're saying, hey, you know what? It's not our fault. Now, this is a complicated legal area. I'm just telling you that if you hear this in the news, force majeure, that's what they're talking about. The company says, hey, it's not our fault. We don't have to pay. That's what they're saying. Now, the actual legal stuff is very complicated. But just to explain what it is, a panacea is a cure for all illness. A cure for all illness. Now, you could also use this for a cure for all problems or all evils. So, for example, in the old days, like let's say the year is like 1400 AD. Let's say it's 1400 AD, or you can say 1400 AD. I usually say 1400. Like if you have this, 2500, 1700, 26,400. Okay. But that's not the point of this video. The panacea is the point of the video. So let's say in our town we're having problems. There's drought, like it's not raining, our crops, our corn is dying. Let's say people are going crazy. Let's say we're running out of water in the ground, so we have not water to drink. You could say that what we need is a panacea. We need a panacea. What we need is a panacea. And so what alchemists would do, well, not so much alchemists, but what so-called healers or folk medicine practitioners or anyone interested in magic or whatever, they would look for the panacea using all kinds of crazy techniques. And this goes back even to the Greek times, apparently. But what we can do is move away from the panacea thing, and we can call this a universal cure-all. A universal cure-all. Universal means used everywhere for everything. Universal is used everywhere for everything. Similarly, if you have a screwdriver, you could say this is a universal driver bit. It is used on any screw in the entire world. It is universal. So, universal cure means fix. All means everything. So, a universal cure-all. And this could be used for diseases or problems. So, for example, I like to talk about money. So we can say the Federal Reserve cure-all is to print more money, also known as quantitative easing. QE2 is the most recent quantitative easing. QE2. So the Federal Reserve's cure-all, or the Federal Reserve's panacea, is to print more money. The Federal Reserve's universal cure-all is to print more money.
Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain insofar as. Now this is a strange topic. And you can see me talking here, but the audio was all screwed up, so I had to sort of delete it, and I'm recording now. So insofar as. This is kind of an idiotic expression, but people do use it, and all it means is about. So for example, about yesterday, I went to the park. But instead we'll say insofar as. So like insofar as bananas are concerned. Look at that horrible spelling. C-O-N. Concerned. Alright. Insofar as bananas are concerned, that means about bananas, you must eat them before they go bad. Very nice. So insofar as bananas are concerned, you must eat them before they go bad. And I spoke too early, and now the video looks ridiculous. Okay. So, and you can hear vehicles going by in the background. So I've got my other microphone, which doesn't cancel out the sound, but okay. Insofar as bananas are concerned, you must eat them before they go bad. That means about bananas, you must eat them before they go bad. And now I'm talking more about stuff, but it looks ridiculous because the audio is not matching. So, oh my god. So hopefully I can get this video better. Let me erase the board here. Insofar as waiting. Here we go. Insofar as bicycles are concerned. Insofar as bicycles are concerned, you must ensure they have 35 psi. So 35 psi in the tires. So insofar as bicycles are concerned, you must ensure they have 35 psi in the tires. Now what does that mean? It means air pressure. How much air is in the tire? So it means pounds per square inch. Pounds per square inch is psi. So in other words, air pressure.
The word delicate has many different uses, but predominantly, or mainly, it means something that is fragile, easily broken, or something that is not very strong. So, for example, a delicate flower. Such as this rose, a delicate flower. In addition, you can also say something is a delicate matter. Which is the same thing as a delicate issue. This is when you have something that you have to be very careful about. For example, let's say you go to your friend's house and your friend has a big, okay, here's your friend, here's you. Let's say your friend has his house just caught on fire, and now it's all burnt. It's destroyed. So now his house is destroyed. Well, this might be a delicate matter or a delicate issue. So maybe you should not talk about it because he doesn't want to talk about his house that just got burnt to the ground. So that would be a delicate matter or a delicate issue. And the last, I'll do one more example. This is not exactly the word delicate, it's delicacy. Delicacy. A delicacy is a type of food that people think is very rare or very good, but usually it's totally disgusting. So I will say a disgusting food that people think is rare or good. So a disgusting food that people think is rare or good. For example, you can have fish, eggs, you could have some squid, and all kinds of weird stuff like rats. Some people even think rats is a delicacy. Rats and bugs like cockroaches. All of those could be delicacies. Paranormal. Paranormal phenomenon is a very beautiful looking word. Para comes from Latin, which means above. So in Latin it means above, and normal, of course, means normal. So what it says is above normal. So basically it means above and beyond what can be explained scientifically. Above and beyond what can be explained scientifically. Phenomenon means, it just means something that is happening. So it's a fancy word or a fancy way of saying something weird is happening, we cannot explain it. For example, a ghost, nice happy ghost, would be paranormal phenomenon. See, I can't see that word very good. Paranormal phenomenon. Now, oh my god, that sounds excellent. As I erase the board, let's look. See, you can erase and draw at the same time. That's an interesting phenomenon, wouldn't you agree? So how can you use the word phenomenon? Well, singular is obviously phenomenon. Plural, phenomena. Phenomena. Paranormal phenomena. Phenomena. Or, you can actually say, you know what? I didn't spell it. Phenomena. My God. Phenomena. You can also say phenomenons. That's also plural. So paranormal phenomenons. Paranormal phenomenons. Paranormal phenomena. Paranormal phenomenons. Now that is ridiculous. So where on earth would you use this? Well, basically, typically you use it when you're talking about things like UFOs. UFO activity is just one type of paranormal phenomenon or phenomena. UFO activity is just one type of paranormal phenomena. No, whatever. See, this is really hard. Phenomena. Oh my heavens. So when you use this, you can also just use it to make people think you're smart. Oh, phenomenon. Oh, it's a troubling phenomenon. It's an intriguing phenomenon. Oh, it's an intriguing phenomenon. Wouldn't you agree? It's an interesting phenomenon. It's an interesting phenomenon, wouldn't you agree? For example, let's say somebody discovers a new scientific procedure, like they invent a new chemical reaction, and it's bubbling away. Oh, that's an interesting phenomenon. This lesson is going to be about the universe. So the universe is basically, you can't really draw the universe because it kind of goes forever. So let's say we draw this. Let's say this is everything. And I mean everything. So you've got, in the universe, you've got individual galaxies. We're going to call these galaxies. So one galaxy, two galaxies. That's the singular and plural. That's what I mean. So these are galaxies. And for example, in our galaxy, we have a solar system. So that's our solar system. And inside the solar system, you have the sun and the planets. So let's say this is Earth. So you can see that the biggest is the universe. Then inside the universe you have galaxies. Inside the galaxy you have solar system. And solar means sun. So it's the sun and then the system of rotation. System of rotation means going in a circle. So our Earth, planet Earth, rotates, right? So the solar system is the system of rotating planets. So maybe I should do quick sentence here. The universe is all that exists. The galaxy is smaller. My gosh. Than the universe. Our solar system has 9 planets. Well, it actually has like 200, but it's easier just to say it has 9 planets. One of which is Earth. So, the solar system, our solar system, has 9 planets, semicolon, one of which is Earth. Gravity. What is gravity? Gravity, or gravitation, is the natural phenomenon, again with the good spelling, is the natural phenomenon of two objects pulling towards each other. So here you can see gravity keeps the pen falling. Otherwise, if there was no gravity, the pen would just float in the air, but when I let it go, the pen falls. Similarly, I would be able to float if there was no gravity. I could just fly into the sky, and that would be kind of fun, but that's not what we can do. So let's talk about gravity. So you've got the sun, beautiful sun, and around the sun you have the planets. And what keeps the planets from just flying off? Well, it's gravity. So when you have gravity, the planets do not just go flying off into the atmosphere. Now, what is an English use of the word gravity? Well, you can say the gravity of the situation, blah, blah, blah. The gravity of the situation. This is like saying the significance, the importance of the situation. The gravity of the situation is that we must keep the border closed. The gravity of the situation, or the importance of the situation, is that we must keep our border closed. So if this, let's draw the United States. Oh my gosh. Some Great Lakes in there. That's a wonderful drawing. Okay, I'll draw that a little better. There's the USA, right? So if the USA wants to keep its borders closed, this is the border. So what they need to do is put up a fence or put some people here to guard the border. So the gravity of the situation is that the United States must keep its borders closed. The gravity, in this case, all we're talking about is importance. The importance. So you can see gravity is the falling, and the sun and the earth, but it also means importance. We will do an easier lesson today, because the last few have been kind of difficult with scientific terms, so we'll do an easy one. How to use the word boot in different ways. So obviously a boot is like this. Well, it's a nice boot, I'd say. And you have the laces. And that is a boot. Put a tread on the bottom there. But what else can you use the word boot for? Well, you can use sorry, my eraser's falling apart. Okay. You can say I booted my roommate out of the house. So if you booted your roommate out of the house, it means you said, hey you, get out of my house. You must leave now. So you're saying the person cannot live in your house. So if this is your house, and your roommate is sitting around on the couch, watching TV, and just garbage everywhere, loud music, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to boot you out. I'm going to kick you out. So I booted my roommate out of the house. You could also say kick. I kicked my roommate out of the house. It means You forced the roommate to leave. Also, with your computer, if you reboot your computer, it means to restart your computer. So if you're having some problems with your computer, it freezes up, boom, reboot the computer. Booty is the bottom. Booty. Wow, that's a nice person. Kick the booty. If you kick the booty, or kick some booty, okay, kick some booty. I kick some booty. I'm getting ready to kick some booty. That means you're getting ready to win. Getting ready to win. So if you're playing soccer, baseball, any sport, you're getting ready to kick some booty. It means you're getting ready to win the match. Handle. Let's talk about handle. So we have different ways, like every word in English, there's different ways to use the word handle. This is the most obvious. The part that you grab is the handle. This is the handle. This is the handle of the saw. Just a second here. Take the cover off. There's the handle. There's the blade. So here's the handle. That's very simple. So you grip the handle. I grip the handle. Now there's a saying. Can you get a handle on him? Or a handle on it? So if you have, let's say you have a child. And this kid is a bad kid. He's always screaming and doing craziness. And so that makes you unhappy. He's always running around and jumping and hanging off. Let's say we got a coconut tree. And the kid is climbing the coconut tree. And he's being a real problem. Your friend might say, hey, can you get a handle on him? That means, can you get him under control? Can you get him under control? Oh my God. Bad spelling. Under control. Similarly, if you have a problem, like, let's say this is your company, and sales are going down. Let's say your sales were 100,000, and they're going down to 90,000, 80,000. Uh-oh. Can you get a handle on the problem? Can you get a handle on the problem? That means, can you stop this? Can you fix this? Also, let's say you have lots of stress. Lots of stress, so you're ripping out your mind because you have to do so much studying. You have all of these books to read. So the first one you open up, English book. Uh-oh, lots of stress. Can you handle all of the work? Can you handle all of the work? Can you handle all of the studying? Can you handle all of the stress. Handle means, can you deal with it? Can you take it? Is it a problem? Can you handle all of the extra work that you have to do? Wake has many different uses. For example, you can use it as an expression. In the wake of. In the wake of da 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 blah 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 blah. Very good explanation, I know. So, in the wake of the recent bombings, the villagers are scared. The villagers are scared in the wake of the recent bombing. So you can put in the wake of, you can put it at the start or the end. So you'd say the recent no. The villagers are scared due to the, oh my god. In the wake of the most recent bombings. Okay, let me write that again. The villagers are scared in the wake of the recent bombings. That's the second way. Oh my god. Now I've confused everybody. So why don't I explain another explanation of wake? Well, when you have a boat, a motorboat, for example, the motorboat makes this behind it. This is the wake. So if I'm driving my motorboat and behind it is sort of this choppy wake, this is why we use the expression in the wake of. Because this is used, think of a wave, a big wave coming. And if a big wave comes and smashes your boat, it is a big effect on your boat. So, if you have a wake of bombing, so bombing coming, like a bomb, boom, exploding that's a large effect. So, that's why we say in the wake of. And it doesn't have to be for bombings, it could be for anything. In the wake of all the money coming in the wake of all the money coming in, the people were excited. So you can use this for positive and negative. So if you think about it like a wave of money, coming in, people are going to be excited. And obviously, there's wake up. Get out of bed. Here's a nice bed. Isn't that nice? Look at that. Now you're sleeping. You wake up. Okay, now you're awake. Thank you for watching. If something is trying, it means that it is hard on the brain. Hard on the brain. Trying equals hard on the mind. Or hard on the brain. Right? So for example, if somebody gives you a problem like this, and you're like, oh my god, what is B? Oh, that's trying. That's very trying. Very trying indeed. But usually the difficulty is an emotional difficulty. Emotional difficulty. So for example, let's say you are working at your job and all of a sudden you get fired. You have no more job, right? And you have no money. But you have little kids that you have to feed. This time is very trying. This time is very trying. So if it's trying, it means it is emotionally difficult. You can also say, these are trying times. These are trying times. For example, you could say 2009 recession. The 2009 recession was a trying time. The 2009 recession was a trying time for all people. The 2009 recession was a trying time for all people. And obviously, trying also means to make an effort. Like, I tried to draw an elephant. But I just couldn't figure out how. Uh-oh. I got the eye, I got the ear, got the snout and the trunk, one leg, and this weird fish thing at the back. I tried to draw the elephant, but failed. I tried to draw the elephant, but failed. Very sad indeed. Solace. What is solace? Well, let's say, for example, this is your friend, and he's walking down the road, he's waving to you, making a little pose, having a little pose for the camera, and then he gets hit by a car. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Dead. Let's say he's dead. Your friend is now dead. So at the funeral, here's your friend. Everybody's crying. Woo-hoo-hoo. Woo-hoo. And here's you hugging your other friend. Woo. This person is providing solace. Providing solace. If you are providing solace, it means you are comforting. 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 So your friend is comforting you. Let's call your friend, we'll give your friend a name, such as Tim McDingle Sr. Tim McDingle Sr. provides solace to my name. My name will be Alfred B. Thompson III. So Tim McDingle Sr. provides solace to Alfred B. Thompson III. Very, very sophisticated names for fairly unsophisticated stick people. Almost a conspiracy, wouldn't you think? Anyway, let's talk about solace. Where does it come from? It comes from Latin. Wow. Do you know how to speak Latin? I don't think you do. I don't know how to speak Latin, and quite frankly, I don't care, so let's just erase this. But it means to comfort or console in the time of distress. Comfort, consolation. See this? Consolation. Look at this. S-O-L-A. To console. Oh, look at that. S-O-L-A. Could that be? I think it is. So where they get the word consolation is from solace. To console your loved ones. To console your loved ones. He provided consolation to his friend. Thank you for watching. Milk. Let's learn about milk. Where does milk derive itself from? Well, first you need a cow. There's the cow's ears. There's the cow's head. There's the cow's hair. There's some eyes. Beautiful. He's got his little tail. Nice, beautiful legs. And what about some fatty area here? That's very nice. Additional legs. I'm going to copy this from the internet, okay? And there. Now that is one stunning cow, if I might say so myself. If I was a cow, I think I would want to look like that. I think so. But remember, dairy cows, that's a Y. I should make my Ys look like Ys. Dairy cows generally have different patches of color, don't you think? Beautiful patches of color. Now, you got some udders. Udder? U-D-D-E-R? Is that how you spell? I don't know. Yes, the internet tells me that udder is in fact spelled U-D-D-E-R, which is not to be get confused with utter. It's not utter, it's udder. This utter will be a future video. Wouldn't you agree? Thank you. So, what does the cow do? The cow eats grass. Oh my god. I'm going to put an up arrow. The grass gets into the mouth of the cow, which then goes through the stomachs inside the cow, then goes to the udders somehow. I don't exactly know how, but let's say it probably has something to do with magic. Now, you then grab the udders and milk the cow. Now that's fun. See the milk coming into the bucket. So you have the bucket, then goes to the supermarket. Milk. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah. And you drink that. I don't drink it. I don't drink milk because I am, what's the word? Sophisticated. Yes, that's right. I don't drink milk because I am sophisticated. Only the peasants drink milk from a cow. A common cow. Oh. Oh. If you take a sponge or any porous material, porous material is something that has small holes inside that allows it to absorb water. Can absorb water. So, when I take my water take my water and pour it onto the sponge will absorb the water. That is the literal way of using absorb. The sponge absorbs water. If it has more pores, it has higher absorption rate. It has a higher absorption rate. So a higher absorption rate means how much water can it hold. Whereas something like this camera container would hold less water because of fewer pores. Fewer pores. Porous, P-O-R. The camera case has lower porosity or lower amount of pores. Lower porosity. Higher porosity. So the sponge has higher porosity. The sponge has higher porosity than the camera case, which has lower porosity. And, for example, a pen would have even lower porosity. It doesn't absorb any water, so it is not porous at all, really. Not porous at all. Now, if you want to use the word absorb a little differently, we can say something like the new company absorbed 100 unemployed people. So you had 100 people with no job is unemployed, and the new company set up its factory, and these people are now working in the factory. So this new company was just like a sponge. The company's like a sponge. All these workers can now work. The company absorbed the workers. And you can use this in many examples. I mean, you can say like for example, when you have let's say fruit trees, right? Say apples. There were too many apples, but the people were able to absorb the extra supply. The supply is how many apples are for sale. The extra supply is the apples for sale. Temper has different uses. I will describe a few of them in this video. The first one would be for anger and how angry you get. So if I have a temper, it means I get angry easily. It's easy for me to get angry if I have a temper. I get angry easily. Similarly, you can say, he has a bad temper. Or I have a bad temper. If you have a bad temper, it means you get angry very easily. The second example that we're going to say for temper is when you have metal. All right, so let's take this steel for example. If you have steel is made from iron, and you add chromium and some nickel and other metals to make steel or stainless steel, and what happens is this, if it's just regular steel, it's not very strong. It would just sort of bend if you used it. So what they do is they temper the steel. Temper means to heat. They would heat this for, like this small one might be 10 minutes or 15 minutes. You might heat it. And that's tempering the steel, which adds strength. Right? Tempering adds strength to the steel. And we're going to segue this into a new example. Think about this, but in terms of talking, you can say people's frustration or people's anger. So you got frustration, people's anger was tempered by the president's speech. So people's frustrations was tempered by the president's speech. People's frustration was tempered by the president's speech. What that means is that people are angry. I hate the government, or I don't like the tax. And the president comes up and says, yes, I have a new initiative. We are going to lower taxes and give everyone jobs. And everyone's like, yes, yes, president, yes. That is, people's frustration was tempered by the president's speech. Temper means make it better, right? So if it's make it better, people's anger was made better by the president's speech. Hello, have you ever wondered what happens to bears in the winter? It's called hibernation. Hibernation. So let's look at an example quickly. Let's say we have a nice bear, and he's getting ready for the winter. So let's say right now it's the summer. So in the summer, what's the bear going to do? The bear is going to eat as much as possible to get extremely fat. Wow. So we'll call this Mr. Bear eats as much as possible to build up fat reserves. Build up fat reserves. When you build up something, it means to collect. To collect. Like, for example, I like to build up a nice collection of garbage in my house. For example, all of this cardboard and crap. All of these egg containers. Like this. I have all kinds of wonderful garbage in my house that I like to build up garbage. The bear, similarly, likes to build up fat resources, or fat reserves. Reserves. If you have a reserve, it's a storage for later. A storage of fat for later. So, what happens in the winter? The bear sleeps. Mr. Bear enters hibernation. He hibernates. Very good. So the bear enters hibernation. Probably more like this. Sleepy time. I think his eyes would be closed. What do you think? Like that. There. Zzz. Sleepy time. And what happens in the spring? Mr. Bear exits hibernation. Exits hibernation. He stops hibernating. So Mr. Bear exits hibernation in the spring, and that is very fun for him. Now, what happens in the summer again? Once again, Mr. Bear builds up fat reserves to burn them during the winter hibernation. Once again, Mr. Bear builds up fat reserves to burn them during the winter hibernation.